your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
Hello, everybody. Brian Engelman here with the New American Media. We're in Santa Monica, California. We're here with overrated artist and superhero, Derek Hess. Derek, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
And we also have Nick Cavalier. He's the director of Forced Perspective, which is a movie about Derek and all of his work. Nick, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, glad to be here.
All right, so I want to talk about the movie first off. I'm going to start with you. Tell me about the process. What was the birth of, hey, let's do a movie?
The birth. The birth came from Nicholas over here. He contacted me, I believe it was the email initially, and wanted to know if I'd be willing to talk to him about doing a feature film on me. And I'm like, well, okay, we'll meet and talk about this. And so we did, and he if he was that interested to do a film about me, who am I to say no? You know, I mean, who else is going to do it? You know, so somebody's got to do it, and Nick stepped up to the plate, and he did it, and probably no one else would have. So.
Did you guys ever get approached?
No.
Before? No.
No.
I can't believe that.
Never approached.
Yeah.
So that's what happened.
And Nick, what caused you to hit send on that email? Where did that come from?
Well, I have been a Derek Hess fan since I was 14, and I used to go to the concerts that are in the movie. So, and I watched Headbangers Ball religiously. I was a big metalhead. Yes, I was into all the bands that he did art for, and I like to draw too. So I used to like look at his stuff and try to be that cool, but it wasn't my style, so I couldn't. You know, but I was like, oh, that's pretty cool how he did that. I really appreciated the craft of it. So, you know, fast forward, I've done music videos for a lot of the bands he's worked with and things like that. And, you know, I was moving from Chicago to Los Angeles, and I was back home visiting family in Cleveland. And I was like, I got 2 weeks. I want to see what this guy's doing. So I hit him up, and we got coffee, and and then we made the short, and the short turned into the feature. So we did like a 20-minute film in like 2 weeks. So, and then, yeah, the rest is history. So.
And so you're putting together this movie. You're like, all right, this dude wants to make a movie. Who am I to say no? Like you said. What was the most surprising part of the process for you?
The time of day when we got started.
Early, I take it?
Earlier than expected, yeah.
Earlier than people like us are used to?
Yes.
He didn't even have his first pot of coffee yet when I got there.
Nick says I'll be there at 8. I'm like, all right, I could work that into my lifestyle, and the door would knock, and it'd be Nick at 7:30. So, because Nick was ready to go, and I was getting ready to go. So that was my first taste of movie making.
Seeing how the sausage is made, if you will, all the behind the scenes. That's all going to be on the DVD, right? All the 7:30 to 8 o'clock?
Some of it, yeah. No, well, you know, you have 12-hour days because him and I had hung out quite a bit before that. We went fishing and we became acquainted with each other. So it wasn't I was like just showing up being like, hey, man. But I also had a camera crew, and it takes time for them to like set everything up and, you know, tech scout and get the audio set and turn off the vents and everything to make everything sound good. And then by the time we actually shot, it was like 10 or 11 usually. So it's like I just needed into the studio, which was also his house, like his home, like where he lived. So, you know, it's invasion of privacy. But it wasn't like, you know, like you said, like showing up like the Osbournes, like, you know, 24/7. It was like, hey, today we're going to do this and talk about this. And he didn't know what I was going to ask or where we were going to go, but he had an idea of what we were going to talk about or what we were going to be doing that day. So it was being respectful to his life in some way, you know.
Yeah, it was all good. I'm just playing, you know.
Well, now that the movie's put out, Forced Perspective, it's winning awards as it's going across to all of the circuits. What kind of feedback have you been specifically getting about the film?
I've been getting positive feedback, you know, and it's really fulfilling is when you're getting, you know, you get feedback from your friends, your family. Oh, it's so good. You look so great on camera and all that crap.
Thanks, Mom.
Yes, Mom has not seen it. and from strangers, and winning awards and stuff like that. That's what's really satisfying about it, and especially for something that was like, well, okay, let's do this. It wasn't, a blockbuster kind of film idea to start with, and so that's what I found very satisfying.
Yeah, and a lot like your art. I don't know if we can get a picture of some of the art, but a lot of what we're looking at. I mean, how have you heard this described, Derek? What kind of adjectives do you hear most often when people describe your work? Because I kind of feel like the tone of looking at some of these pictures is kind of the overriding, underlying tone of the movie Force Perspective as well. What do people normally tell you they get out of your stuff?
Well, a lot of people, say it's dark, and, who am I to, try to defend that as it not being dark? I mean, it's dark, but it's telling a story, and it's, the darkness is the vehicle to get the point across. I mean, this hand here with the love carved out of the wrist, it's, the words will not heal. The words won't heal itself, and that's it was pure when I did it. It was freshly after a breakup, and it's it's definitely wanting to make an impression, and so it's honest. It's dark, but it's honest. And I'm not making any of this up. Of course, I'm making it up. It's artwork, but it's an honest message.
And I'm also from the greater Cleveland area myself, and I mean, let's face it, it gets gloomy there, it gets cold there, it gets snowy there. Do you feel like the region you grew up in played any role in what comes out, and if so, how?
Of course. Well, have you seen the film yet?
Yes, I did, in Beverly Hills. We went and saw it, and I thought it was fantastic.
Well, right at the end, when William Busta is speaking about artists, he's like, I don't think an artist in Cleveland, Ohio can do the same art as someone in Juneau, Alaska. I don't think someone in Juneau, Alaska can do the same kind of art as in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. You're a part of your environment, and that reflects into my artwork. I am a Cleveland artist. I am part of my environment, and that affects me. And as Bill Busta put it, somebody in Alaska is not going to be doing what I'm doing here. They're doing something else.
Well, back to the movie again and some of the subject matter. I mean, it really kind of delved into, some of the demons that we all fight. In particular, you're the star of the movie, of course. Were you comfortable opening up that much of yourself? Were you surprised at how much you volunteered about, just what you're going through and what you've been going through for your lifetime? Were you surprised by how much you opened up?
I just kind of let it go. I wasn't like... To really be able to explain the artwork correctly, I would have to talk about stuff that, some people prefer to keep private, and a lot of people are dealing with exactly the same thing I am, and
for the people that haven't seen the movie yet, the topic again.
We're talking about alcoholism, we're talking about bipolar, and for me, being both is called dual diagnosed, and talking about how it affects your life, and it certainly affects my artwork, and it brings out a way of approaching ideas that others may not, without, if they didn't have the kind of issues as I do, and I'm not saying, my issues are terrible, and, everybody's got issues, what I'm saying? These are just mine, and it reflects on what the artwork is.
We just took a look at the word won't heal itself. Do you have a couple others you can maybe just kind of like explain? I don't know, just get out of all of these, for the people that aren't familiar with your work, which one would you point to, and I don't know, maybe walk us through some. See, I'm not going to say. You lead us. You show us.
Well, I like this one.
All right, this one is Everything Bleeds.
Everything Bleeds.
Describe this one.
Well, I get a lot of lines from bands, one-liners. It may not reflect what the song's about, but I love the one-liners. And that's a one-liner from a song by Gary Newman. It goes, "Everything bleeds." I'm like, how cool is that? You know, and took a little tough to my blood.
Oh, so that's original Derek Hess blood.
It comes from here. And yeah, well, it has blood in that one, blood in that one, blood in that one.
See, now we're getting to see how it actually happens. I was not aware of that.
Hey, I see, it's dramatic.
His blood and sweat is literally in this artwork, man.
Right. You know, and it just put a little red paint there, you know. Put the real deal there, and it means a little bit more, you know.
Plus, you know, in about 30 years, we'll be able to clone you from this piece of artwork.
Absolutely. And
so we can get more art.
I could put myself to work.
Exactly. There was a movie, Multiplicity. It was with Michael Keaton, and he learned how to make clones of himself.
Right.
And then, anyway, it's
Okay.
yeah, he ends up making so many clones that the guy becomes kind of slow and dumb. And it's like, if you ever make a Xerox of a Xerox of a Xerox, it gets all blurry. Yeah, meet Steve. Hi, Steve. Or whatever it is. Anyway.
Well, we won't do that.
So this one was inspired by music. Are a lot of it, you know, right behind.
This one was inspired by the hand drawing. I wanted to do an academically correct hand drawing in this position, and I found it to be successful. Then what did I want to do with this? I totally discovered this Gary Newman record. It came out in 2013. It's called Splintered. And there's a song on there. It's not called Everything Bleeds. I don't know what the song is called, but that is the chorus. And I'm like, you know, what do I want to do with this? And I thought, wow, I'll just put that there and put Everything Bleeds.
So with
you know, I'm going through my emotional up and downs, you know, with the crash and burn of a relationship. And so, of course, I'm beating myself up because it's all my fault. So that's where this piece came from.
Well, and we're talking about music here, and a lot of these are on 8 tracks. I don't know if which one of these you want to single out?
Well, 8 tracks are fun. I'm not doing anything too, you know, too personal with these things. I'm just having fun with this. This one is the Uriah Heep cover. I flipped it over and drew in a little face with, and had the nice colors, and then just put the bright red hair on here. I thought that just like works real rich with the actual record cover. And this one is done with Kiss Rock and Roll Over. And there's a circle there with Kiss and stuff in it. And you step back and you're just seeing the richness of the cover of the figure. You know, and then if you get in here, you can actually see the Kiss guys in there a little bit, still coming through the figure. And so there's a lot of things I could do with 8-track covers, which was fun. I wasn't doing it to beat myself up stuff, you know. Like.
Well, let me ask you. Let's walk over here. I want to talk about this one for a second, or maybe these two rather. These that are on the. What is this on? It's on an old hymn, or what is?
They're on old sheet music. I don't know if it was on a hymn or not. Probably. Let me get my cheaters on here.
That's fair.
Probably it was some kind of hymn. I did a lot on sheet music, and this one as well. This was the back cover of one of the sheet musics, where I did the angel. And it's just like found objects to work on. Were 8 tracks, were the music sheet, and I did a ton on Playboy covers that I don't have here. I mean, I did hundreds on Playboy covers too, and none of those are in this show. I also did things on strips of flyers I did when I booked the Euclid Tavern. So
these are actual band flyers that you designed?
Yeah, and there's strips of them. 1, 2, 3 different strips, and I did the image on them. See, you can still see some of the information of the flyer coming through, but you step back like that 8-track back there with Kiss in it, it just adds texture. But if you want to pull in close, you can see, look, it says Cleveland. It says Down Under for Cleveland Flats, you know. You come all the way up here, you can start seeing the name of the bands. You know, that A was for this band called Craw, and it went to a W. And
yeah, I see Peabody's box office. Our band played at Peabody's multiple times. You know, and so you got sheet music, you got flyers for bands.
These are flyers as well, and that's flyers as well. That one was for a band called Flower with Steve Albini, and it had Brick Layer Cake coming through right here, and did the date. And I don't know what flyers these were. They were different different band flyers.
Well, being in Cleveland with the home of rock and roll, you got band flyers, you got sheet music, you got 8-tracks. Just explain what the role music plays with who you are, with all of this. It's a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city. I mean, that's you are Cleveland art.
Well, I came up, first concert, 77 was Queen, News of the World Tour, and made the impression. That's what did it. And I was just a little kid, and it was made the impression, that arena show. And ever since then, it was like concert after concert after concert after concert. Then into the 80s, then it was, the smaller concerts, smaller venues, the Celtic Frost with Voivod, with King Diamond, with Merciful Fate, Slayer, Exodus, Venom on one show. What a show that was. The Ministry, all that good stuff. Black Flag, Dead Kennedys, GBH, and then into when I started booking the club, then the music shifted, and I'm doing the Jesus Lizard and Cop Shoe Cop and Tar and Bricklayer Cake, Jawbox, Helmet, the Cows, stuff like that, and then moved on to the Converge world, and Every Time I Die and Code 7, Hope's Fall, and One Dead, Three Wounded, Above This Fire, those bands, and it's just, music has always been a part of what I do, and when I was doing CD covers for the bands, I believed in the bands, and I wanted to take what I had to help further their cause, because my artwork had a certain profile.
Right.
And
it was a profile. It was a signature. Just to look at, your style. If you just take a look at this stuff, once you learn who Derek Hess, the artist, is. By the way, would you have me introduce you as overrated superhero?
Overrated artist.
Overrated artist. Well, those were your words, not mine. But it's a style. It's a very unique signature that you have, where if you see a flyer, you go, oh, that's a Derek Hess. Oh, wait, that's an endorsement of it's probably this type of music, and it's probably good, right?
That's the idea. Yeah, I turned down jobs for bands I didn't like.
Did you ever tell them it's because I don't like you, or did it never get that far?
May have.
That'd be a fun conversation.
Yeah, you guys suck.
Yeah, I'd love to do that, but you're not very good.
Just aren't up to par. Need to go back to school. No, I would tell them, if I told them, it wouldn't be honest. I would be doing a job for them, but I would not be liking it. I wouldn't be liking what they do, and I would just be a lie. And because I'm not an illustrator. That's not my job. An illustrator would illustrate whatever the client wants you to have done. Right. Now, I'm an artist, and I would do what I do, and they hire me knowing what I do, and that's what they would get. So that's how that worked, And it was no disrespect for these bands that may be giants, brilliant, but it's just not my.
If they're not your cup of tea. Sorry, again.
I can't do it for you. It wouldn't be right.
Well, what is right is the movie. I want to go back to Nick real quick here. We have this Forced Perspective now coming out. Tell us about the package that's put together with all of the features, what people are going to get with the book. Explain everything that's going on with that.
Well, they do a ton of art books, Derek and his manager Marty. All the time, And that's something that fans really love, to be able to have a physical copy of the. And I'm an old school guy in a sense of when I buy a DVD, I still want a DVD. When I want I still want a CD. I still want something. I miss cassettes, honestly. I loved cassettes. But yeah, so selfishly speaking, I wanted something to commemorate a year of my life and doing this thing. So we made a 200-page book with art from each era of his life that's covered in the movie, corresponding with the chapters in the movie, and each one of those chapters has insight from me or Derek or somebody, relating to that time. And the end of the book also has behind the scenes, how we made certain things, how the title sequence is put together, how the music was scored, how all that stuff. It's all in there. And then we have a Blu-ray DVD and a 90-minute deleted scenes featurette with a bunch of different cut scenes and cool stories from the Euclid Tavern, and I actually just put that together today. So, and that'll all be available at the end of May. It's up for pre-order right now.
Yeah, where do people go to find out about the project with Force Perspective if they want to get the book, they want to get the movie? Where's the best place?
Well, you could go to stress.com, stress.com, and that'll take you to it.
ForcePerspectiveFilm.com is a film website, and then his art website is DerekHess.com. And that has all that on as well. Yeah.
Well, and perhaps most importantly, being a Clevelander, I got to ask, is this the year that the Cleveland Cavaliers break the city's 52-year curse, Derek?
Hope so. I hope so. I hope so. I can't. Man, come on.
Okay, let me rephrase that, because the title of my sports show is called The Unhappy Hour.
Okay.
I've been a bartender for a long time, and it's just unhappy being a Cleveland sports fan. Do you think the sports seeps into the culture of the city as well?
The losing angle?
The losing, they'll find a way to screw it up. They always, look, there it is. It almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, I think.
It's always next year. It's always next year. Yeah. I don't know. I think that there should be Occupy Browns. I think that all these morons, all these lowest common denominators, I bleed always brown and orange, idiots, should get their shit together and really demand a change. Instead of just, well, we lost, woof, 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 woof. You gotta go boycott the stadium. You gotta demand change. If they're so complacent, if we win 4 games, always next year's. If we win 8 games, we're expected to win it all. So you win in between the two, you keep the seats filled, and everybody's going to be next year, I'm bleeding orange and brown. So it's just unacceptable. And if the people would do it, but the people won't do it, they're fucking morons. They are. I love my Browns, but those people out in that field aren't my Browns. I don't know who they are.
Since '99, since Art Modell stole them, it's been.
They got people out there in our colors, and they are not our team.
They're imposters.
They're somebody else.
Well, you were saying that we should demand change for the Browns, and you were actually involved with the Obama campaign, with the Hope and Change, and doing so. Remind us what that was about, and maybe if you had anything to say about this election.
Oh, this election. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, it's a wonderful one.
I think ideally, when Trump is doing, his little fingers, doing his thing at the Q, I think it's a beautiful time for Canada to been amassing their armies on the border, just like in North Korea when China amassed on the border.
Lake Erie War Games.
Nobody knew they were there, and all of a sudden China came over and kicked America's ass in North Korea, and the largest unguarded border in the world. That's when the Canada needs to come invade. It's our only hope.
Well, hope and change. Now we brought it back to hope and change. No, I mean, okay, so that's Trump. Are you inspired by Miss Clinton or anything with the libertarians?
It sucks. Libertarians, okay,
But I think there's ever room for a third party in this country? Like you said, the people to get pissed off and demand some change. You think there's any heart for people that have... Because they're saying Trump and Bernie Sanders are the outsiders they don't want in, and they're the only ones with passionate support behind them.
Bernie ain't gonna make it.
Probably not.
What?
No, I don't think he's going to make it. But people are amped up for him.
Sure.
People are not super excited about Hillary Clinton. They just say, well, she's next up in our list.
Yeah.
She's Secretary of State for a while, and, But people are excited about Bernie. I think it's ridiculous to support socialism, but...
I'm all for socialism. Let's do it. Nothing else seems to be working these days.
You know what? You're onto something, because there's so many people that just say, at least Trump will be entertaining. Or, hey, bring in a socialist. This crony capitalism thing doesn't work.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe we're on the verge of something. Or you just think more same old, same old.
if they win 4 games, people would be accepting. If they win under 4 games, they'll demand change. So they won't lose 4 games. You know, they'll win. They won't win more than 8 games because then they'll demand. So it's the same thing with the politics. It's just going to be like that, you know.
So you're saying stay in between that Overton window of the crappy 4 wins and the monumental 500 season at 8-8, because that's your safe zone.
To fill the seats and fill the buckets of beer and fill the dog pound and so on and so forth.
So that's your bread and circuses. Let them eat cake.
Yeah.
Here, run around in there.
Don't pay attention.
Here's a shiny object. Take a look.
Yeah.
No, well, hey, Derek.
We should do Logan's Run and renew everybody at 30.
Well, yeah, I do.
Okay. Logan 5, identify.
Hey, let me ask you: are you going to be at the RNC? It's in your backyard, and you're you're not a performance artist, but you're an artist. Have you given any consideration of jumping down there and participating?
They won't riot.
Well, if it was going to be a contested convention, I think we.
It'd be so nice if they rioted, because even though it's Trump and it's not contested, it is going to be a historic RNC.
In which way?
There's never one going to been like it ever, and probably never since. You know, so it'll be one for the history books.
Yeah, he's the first rich outsider, self-funded, that didn't need to bow down to the special interest.
He self-loaned his campaign the money, so he's going to get paid back. He didn't fund it; he loaned it.
Fair point. I'll give you that. But he's definitely hated by the establishment. They did not want him in at all.
Not at all.
So it is kind of fun with Cleveland being the epicenter of so many things right now, with the Cavaliers, with the RNC convention. To wrap it up, Derek, thank you for your time, by the way. But
just a whole bunch of bullshit. That's just like.
Yeah, but that's what I do. Is I do bullshit. I'm a bullshit peddler.
All right.
I do a show called Agree to Disagree. We cover every topic under the sun.
Disagree with what I said, so.
Well, of course. I mean, I would have never aligned myself with the Obama campaign. But the hope and change it's a positive message. It made a lot of sense in theory. And then we got to, that was my final question. I'll end it with this final question, Derek. Being involved with first, can you reset, remind, what was it you exactly did with the campaign?
The Obama campaign? Oh, we just did a poster. And then me and Kent Smith, who is now the state rep for my district in Ohio, Democrat, good man. Me and him did a book together called Please God Save Us. Initially it's called Please God Save Us from Your Followers. And we did 10 chapters that covered everything. And
very political.
Very political. But we also covered the creationists versus evolutionists, all that whack stuff, and rock and roll and censorship. We covered fuel fossil.
Oh, that was Tipper Gore, right?
We might have tipped on Tipper Gore. We might have. But we did that. We pushed that book, and we made sure we got it out before the election. We went out pushing that book as well.
So to sum up, and this is it, to sum up your thoughts on the Obama, we're in the lame duck term, final year of an 8-year run. Is there anything you've been disappointed by, and is there anything you would point to as being specifically proud of as an accomplishment?
I'm disappointed by his foreign policy. I think he was weak. Bummed me out.
Like a continuation of the Bush foreign policy?
No, he's just Ukraine.
Red lines in Syria.
Thank you.
Benghazi. Nah, I'm sleeping. I mean, just on down the list. You look at the Muslim Brotherhood. You look at the revolution in Northern Africa. Everything being set on fire. ISIS, homegrown terrorism.
I mean, you don't have to talk to me. Put it here, right? He's saying it all, right here.
No, but here's the part where I will get silent. What would you say you've been most impressed or happy with? Because I don't have much to say on that one.
I like his environmental, and I'm concerned about my Lake Erie, and I hate Kasich, our governor, but he is involved with the lake, the lake issue, because it's one, all the Great Lakes is the largest source of fresh water in the world, and it's up to us to take care of it.
If Nestle doesn't pump it dry.
If Nestle doesn't pump it dry. The Canadians take it over when they invade.
Just like in South Park, Terrence and Phillip.
I didn't see that one.
It's ridiculous, but
Sure it is.
okay. So the foreign policy. Anyway, thank you. Like I said, we blend sports and politics and art and music, and I don't really have focus in my interviews because I like talking about a lot of different things, and I just wanted to say I'm a fan of this, and I'll give you the final word. Nick Cavalier, director of Forced Perspective. Final word here, and then final word from Derek.
Keep making art.
Thank you. Good night.
Peace.
The thing is,